So we will learn how to edit a widget. We learn how to hide things on the widget, how to change the colors in the widget, the fonts, how to upload images. Doesn't matter if we will have them on the computer or on the phone. We learn a lot of cool things. By the way, if you missed any of these things or you're still wondering how to do it, just go to YouTube, find the Hocoos channel. We'll upload all the videos with instructions of all the kind of small actions that we did for these widget changes. Now, we want to learn also how to change the general design of the website. So if you remember when we did the website creation, when we answered 8 questions, and then the AI create for us the custom website and asked us to choose color or to choose fonts. And it also had a small comment there, I'm not sure if you know this, which says you can change it later, because we only gave a few options to make the process easier. Now we're going to learn how you can change it. So let's dive in. All right, so I hided some buttons because we're going to play around with these buttons so it's easy for you to know which one I'm focusing on. And let's go change the palettes. So I'm pressing on design. I'm in the palettes menu inside design. I can see the color palette here, the 5 colors which we chose when we created the website. Now, I have 2 options. The first one is just choose any other palette which was created by Hocoos designers for you. Those are well balanced, they are mapped perfectly into the website. You can just press and immediately see the change. I'll show you how. It's very easy. You just scan through the colors. Let's say I feel like I'm gonna like this one. Immediately it applies. I can scroll down and see how it looks. I can try another one. Let's say I'd like to try this one. A bit lighter colors. You get a pretty beautiful result here. And if you bothered about the extra color here, if you remember, we always said we can just use the spacing very easily. We can increase or decrease it and essentially make this go away. This is actually part of this specific widget design. You can change it. Let's jump back to the color palettes. Again, I can also go back and choose the same palette which I wanted. That's the one which we created the website with. Now, let's say that I really like this palette, but I'm not a big fan of the color I have here for the back of the button. So one option is actually just to press on the button and edit it. But if I want to edit something consistently across the website, this is where I'm going to do it. So again, I'm going back to the design, I'm going to the palette, and I'm locating the color which affects this background. So I assume it's this color here. And once I press on it, I can see the spectrum. So this is where the color is on the spectrum. So it's between purple and red, as you can see here in this area. And then here is the dark area of this color spectrum, and here are the lights area of this color spectrum. Something very important, when you change a color in a color palette, you want to make sure that the color brightness or darkness stay the same, which means ideally we would only play here with this area, but wouldn't move this kind of white circle too much. Why is that? Because when the color palettes are created and mapped in your website, there is an element of contrast, which means that a background which is dark need to have text which is light, and the other way around. So a light background will be much better for dark text, so the user can, or your website visitor can see it in much better contrast, so it's much more visible. This is why it's important that while you change the colors to suit what you want, always to keep this contrast. And that means to keep it right here in this area, the level of brightness and darkness, but you can play with any color that you want. So here we have kind of a dark purple. Let's go crazy, let's go to the blues area. And you see I'm still leaving it here in this area of this rectangle here. Once I'll press outside, new color will apply. And again, once I press outside of the design menu, the system will prompt me and ask me if I'd like to save it. Let's go ahead and save it. And you can see now the background color has changed. And most likely a color will apply to more things. So here I kind of aim to the background of the button, but you can see it's also affecting the title in this case. And there's probably a couple more places where this color is touched. That's what professional designers did to make sure it's mapped great. Also, once I save this palette, don't worry, the default palette which you used just didn't go anywhere. The new palette which we saved now is under my color palette. So these are the color palettes which you create, and then you can have the color palettes which created for you. These are the stuff that Hocoos designers created and the AI crafted for you, and you can just go ahead at any given moment and go back. So let's say I played with it too much and I don't like the result. Let's say if by mistake I took this color which is light and then I move it to be dark and I messed up my website, I press save by mistake, And now I just want to go back. You haven't lost the original color palette. So if you scroll down here, this color palette is still available. You can press and go to the original website that was created for you. Of course, you can always edit it again and again, but I recommend you, if you messed up by mistake the brightness and the darkness, just go ahead and start a new color palette from an existing palette which we created for you. That's it. Good luck.